Today, we're gonna talk about sex, and that just feels so weird to say, but you know what? We've got to talk about it. Christians need to talk about it. God put it on my heart to talk about it, so that's what we're talking about today. So stay tuned. We're gonna see how this goes. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. As you can tell by the intro of this video and the title and maybe the description, this video is going to get real interesting and it's going to get really real. So I'm super glad that you're here. I mean, this is something that's been on my heart to talk about and I'm super excited to share it with y'all. But before I get into that, please make sure to subscribe to this channel if you like the videos that I'm putting out. Also, comment down below any suggestions you have and any types of things that you just want to say to me, because I read the comments and I would love to talk to you. But let's go ahead and get into the video today. So as I said, we're talking about sex. Ugh, wow. You know, a lot of people don't like to talk about sex, yet the thing is, it's all around us, especially in American culture and American society. And the reason that I really felt led to talk about sex today is because I've been reading this book recently. It's called Disposable People by Kevin Bales. I'll put the link to it in the description below. And it talks about slavery today. It talks about how there is still slavery in this world and there are people who are being bought and sold on a daily basis. And it's really eye-opening. I love reading it, but the thing that really touched me was just the amount and the literally degradation of sex and how people are literally being bought and sold for the purpose of sex. And it made me think about it and I was like, oh my gosh, like everyone likes to see sex and be like, oh, I don't want to talk about that. That's weird. Like, we don't want to talk about that, especially Christians. But yet it's all around us and it's a huge problem in our society and people are literally in slavery because of it. And so we need to speak about it, because the reason that there's slavery and the reason that sex is all around us is because sex has been taken out of context and sex has been used in horrible ways and completely against God's will. So this is why us Christians need to be making these videos and need to be talking to people about sex and not be afraid to say the word sex and to be afraid to say and talk about these things, because the world is talking about it and they are saying lies. And so Christians need to come in and not be afraid to say the truth. All right, so here we go. I hope that everyone is excited. I'm excited, and I also hope that you're still watching at this point and I haven't scared you off. But anyways, I'm going to be talking about 2 reasons why you really should care about sex and why you should value sex and why sex should be an important thing in your life that you should, be thinking about and that you should be talking about. And I realize that society really doesn't care. Y'all have their own ideas of sex. I used to have my own ideas of sex. I used to be like, oh, well, I'd really like to save sex for marriage, but ultimately it's up to my heart. What if I meet someone and I like them a lot and And I'm just like, girl, you're ridiculous. And so pretty much I have realized that these things are lies. They're lies from Satan, and not to be super harsh, but I'm being kind of harsh. Like, these things are fake. And so today I'm going to share why these things are fake and why you need to know that sex is important and you should be taking it seriously, because unfortunately a lot of people are not. They're like Isaiah 64, where it's like the people don't even want to try to know what's right. They don't even want to seek after God. They don't even want to know the truth, and that's exactly what's happening right now with sex. So let me help you out. Let me tell you some truth, and hopefully it'll change your mind. And if you're a Christian already and you're watching this, and maybe you'll learn something. I hope so, because sex is important and it should be valued. And if you're not doing it, you're not valuing this thing called sex, then you are causing a lot of pain for yourself and for others. So let's get into it. First reason why you should value sex is because God created it. He literally created sex. He made it and he made it good. It says in Genesis chapter 1, literally the beginning of the earth, chapter 1, verse 27. So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them, male and female. He created them. God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and increase in number. You know what that means. Fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky and over every living creature that moves on the ground. And then you skip down a couple verses and it says in verse 31, God saw all that he had made and it was very good. So God made sex. He saw sex and he thought it was good. But you know what? There's a context to that. And we will see that real quick in Mark chapter 10. It says in verse 6, "But at the beginning of creation, God made them male and female. For this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and the two will become one flesh. So they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined together, let no one separate." So God created sex, he made it, he saw it was good, but he made it in his design, which was, first of all, between a man and a woman. Second of all, they were married. That's what his design was. And I don't know about you, you look around the world today and we've definitely taken that out of context. We have definitely created horrible, horrible things out of God's design, completely disregarding everything that he said, and now look at what we've got. We've got people literally being sold for sex and people watching it online. Like, it's crazy. So you need to care about it because God cares about it and he thinks it's valuable and he thinks it's good in his design. So we have to remember that we can value sex. We can think it's good. If it's in God's design, great, awesome. That's exactly what he made it for. If not, then this is the second reason why you should care about sex, because it says that if you are not keeping sex within God's design, you're in a little bit of trouble, and we can see that with verses 3 through 7 of 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. And let me give you what the trouble is. It says, "It is God's will that you should be sanctified, that you should avoid sexual immorality." Pretty much meaning you should avoid sex outside of marriage, because anything that is not within God's design is immoral. "That each of you should learn to control your own body in a way that is holy and honorable, not in passionate lust like the pagans who do not know God. And that in this matter no one should wrong or take advantage of a brother or sister. The Lord will punish all those who commit such sins, as we told you and warned you before. For God did not call us to be impure, but to live a holy life." So obviously this verse is towards the believers, the people who know that Jesus created sex to be between man and woman. Like, he literally calls us out. He doesn't leave any room for any kind of interpretation. Like, if you are having any kind of sex, doing any kind of sexual things outside of marriage, then it's a sin. And I know that's really intense, and I know that's like, oh my gosh, maybe convicting, and it should be, but you should also know that there is grace for that. And if you really are repentant and you're like, man, I don't want to be committing this sin anymore, then like, ask Jesus and he will forgive you, homegirl or home guy. Like, he will forgive you and you'll be okay. Just try not to go back to it. I mean, it's a good warning. Like, control our bodies, help us to be honorable and holy, and to not take advantage of brothers and sisters, because that's what we all are. We're all brothers and sisters. Until you get married, then you can be more than that, okay? So I just wanted to make this video because sex is important and sex is good within the confines of marriage. And this was something that I definitely learned, because I used to have my own images of a relationship and what sex should be like, because, you know, I watched movies and I unfortunately, you know, was exposed to porn and stuff like that. And so it was really hard for me to see sex as God saw it, because I only saw it as the world did. And so it made me feel icky and gross and uncomfortable, but God doesn't want us to feel that way. He created it and he thinks it's good, and so you should think it's good too, but definitely keep it within the context of marriage. Definitely understand that God sets standards for us on purpose. He set these standards so that we wouldn't be degraded in the manner that we're degraded today. I mean, the fact that people are actually sold, stolen from their families, even sold by their families in order to be used for sex is a complete and utter just disgrace to what God created sex for, and it breaks my heart. And so that's why I made this video, because any type of way that we step out of God's will, God's plan, his perfect creation, we ruin it and we take away the value of that thing that he created. So keep the value in sex. Save yourself some trouble, save yourself some hurt, save yourself some pain, and really try to stay within God's will, because his will is the best. And when he created something, he created it to be perfect and good, and that goes with sex. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's a little bit weird. I kind of feel weird making this video, but at the same time, I just knew I had to make it. I think more Christians need to be talking about this. More people need to know about this, because if we're not out there telling people what sex should be like, then they're going to learn from the world, and look at what they'll be learning. So that's pretty much all I've got to say about that. I hope you enjoyed. I really hope that you continue to watch my videos after this, and leave any comments down below of areas in your life or in culture culture or in social media that you really see sex as prominent, and like kind of just comment it down below because I'd love to see what stands out to you the most. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next week. Hasta luego. I really speak Spanish, but I always say it white. Anyways, bye.